Hey everybody, so it's been quite a while since videos rolled out, and some things in life changed, and so I'm trying to make the most of my time, so I'm actually commuting, so don't judge. I'm going to try to practice safe driving, but I think it's important to get out, so I just want to share this. So I was reading today in Mark chapter 2, starting in, I think, about verse 8. And I'm reading the section where some of John's disciples and some of the Pharisees were fasting. And then some people came to Jesus and said, "Why do your disciples not fast like John's disciples and the Pharisees?" And so then begins this deep dialogue between Jesus and these people. So I really feel like the Lord revealed to me a treasure or two in this, more to maybe come, but this is at least what's come thus far. So Jesus goes on to say, well, I'm going to kind of paraphrase here. Do the wedding guests, do they fast with the bridegroom? Of course not. They cannot. And he says they would fast, they will fast when the bridegroom leaves. And so the first thing that I believe that this shows us is I believe Jesus is going after the heart of why we fast. Because Jesus says, why would they fast when the bridegroom is present? Right? We know Jesus himself to be the bridegroom. So he's asking, why would they? They have me, but when I am gone, they will fast. So what is Jesus going after in their understanding of why do we even fast? It's for presence. In our current thinking, many times we believe that fasting is for the purposes of meeting some sort of need. Now, I know that the Lord will ask people to fast things, and it could be an aspect of obedience. So I'm not saying this is only this way, but I believe that this is a very pulse of what Christ was trying to show. He's saying, when I'm gone, then you'll fast. It's about seeking presence. Now, you take it a step farther, and he says in another place, I will never leave you or forsake you. So for believers, this is kind of now we find ourselves in this conundrum. Because wait, now we're never alone. Yet Christ says, when I'm gone, then you'll fast. So I think not only is it just about presence, we're seeking a closeness with Him. We're seeking heightened presence, but we're also, I think, specifically, especially in this certain time, when we find ourselves distant, we find ourselves not desiring like we used to, that intimacy and proximity that we once had. So I think he gives us, in this part, a good understanding as to why are we to fast. And so when we find ourselves distanced, I think it is a necessary element to say a proclamation, a desire presence. And even if we aren't distant and we just want a deeper relationship with the Lord, it's not about twisting his arm to get what we need. And thank God he does that for us in those moments when we're just desperate for a breakthrough. But I believe the heart of what he's saying about fasting is about our hunger and thirst for presence. Okay, Revelation number 2. And this is beautiful. I hope it touches you like it touched me. Jesus goes on to say, he gives 2 scenarios. He says, he addresses why would they fast when the bridegroom is present. And then he says, besides. And then he goes into two analogies. Who would put a new cloth on an old garment or patch, however, depending on whatever translation you're reading? Who would put a new cloth on old clothing? Because when the new cloth shrinks, it would tear away the sewing, and it would make it would tear it more, it would rip it apart more. And then he also says, who would put new wine in an old skin? Now we know that with the wine, it would cause expansion. The old skin would have already expanded to its maximum capacity to hold the wine, the pre-existing wine. And so it would already have been expanded as much as it could. So you need a new skin to contain the expansion that would be needed. So he gives 2 analogies. He says, you don't put new wine in an old skin, and you don't put new cloth on an old garment. Now, this is amazing here. So he says, new wine needs a new skin. Therefore, we can also make the same statement. A new cloth needs new clothing. In Revelation chapter 2 or 3, Jesus is addressing churches. And one of the churches, he says, I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, to buy eye salve for your blindness, and linen from me to cover your nakedness. Clothing is usually always representative of righteousness, a covering, a garment. So, if clothing is representative of righteousness, we can also see that so very often wine is representative of Holy Spirit, of the Spirit. So Jesus is actually telling the listeners, if they have an ear to hear, he's saying, look, I'm about to